Good afternoon. It's another week, and of course, a brand new episode of the program, a current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Ego Sagmalao. Today's edition, we'll be looking at strengthening of democracy in Nigeria vis-a-vis the development of the country. It is believed that democracy paves the way for development. That is the school of thought, the driving force behind democratic tenets around the world. Of course, it is evident outside the shores of this country in the US, where democracy actually is well bettered. In Nigeria, democracy has been practiced for so many years, especially after the military. Some persons believe that Nigeria is better off with the practice of democracy. But other persons believe that Nigerians have not enjoyed the dividends of democracy. But the federal government of Nigeria, under President Muhammadu Buhari, actually believes that democracy is worth celebrating, democracy is worth practicing. And June 12th was declared Democracy Day because of the late MKO Abiola and all that happened around him. Of course, democracy has come to stay. I have very unique guests with me in the studio today. I have with me Dr. Maxwell Osagie, a lecturer and of course a public analyst who will be dissecting how democracy has thrived, has democracy impacted positively on Nigerians and the country. And also, we have a very reputable politician and also the president United in Democracy, UID, is a pressure group. So he's not really, he's really spearheading the pressure group where they put pressure on the government to actually ensure that the people enjoy the dividends of democracy. It's also a political analyst and communication strategist. Ambassador Eiga Loa Andrew, nice to have you today.
Good afternoon.
Okay, and I'm going to start with you. Yes, you are also an ambassador of peace and also spearheading a pressure group that put pressure on government to ensure that the people enjoy the dividends of democracy. Do you think Nigeria's democratic tenets is actually working as expected?
Thank you,
okay,
for having me.
Yeah.
First and foremost, democracy, according to Abraham Lincoln, is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Okay.
It revolves around the people. Sweet definition. I think that definition operates for now in the Western world. But in Nigeria, we are still dragging. I think we only picked the name, but we are operating what I would call semi-democracy. We are
How
not.
do you mean?
Yes, good. Semi-democracy, in the sense that the tenets of democracy is not really practiced in Nigeria yet. Fully. I wouldn't blame Nigeria because we are still growing. You cannot compare Nigeria to America that has, had their independence like over 200 years ago. So we can't be there like them, but we are getting near there. Because when you talk about democracy, there are certain factors you have to put into consideration to feel, yes, we are actually enjoying democracy. Like institutions need to be built. Democracy is a government that is being managed by institutions, what we call checks and balances. Okay. There should be a legislative arm that is working perfectly, the judicial arm, pressure groups, societal groups, and all that. They come together to make democracy works. And that freedom of expression, freedom of the press, it's not like When you write about something, somebody and your article or your publication is not favoring the president or the party in power, they will be calling for your arrest. No. It makes you to say, oh, what this person has written, let me work on it, without being sentimental or being a vendetta towards that writer. That is what democracy is. If you just listen, a few days ago, I was listening to news. The judiciary, they were granted financial autonomy. And I clapped. Oh, victory for democracy.
Okay.
Because where did
that was after a prolonged industrial action, prolonged strike.
Normal. There are processes for things, good things like that, for it to work. There are processes. They didn't fight. It was done in the court, and eventually victory was gotten in the court. That's what we call democracy. Before this financial autonomy was granted to judiciary, how were they operating? I think it was during the military era. And you dare not bring up such issues when the military are in power. Those are some of the benefits you get from democracy. But we have some of our own side effects here in Nigeria, whereby you call a system a democratic system. You see people fighting on election day, shooting of guns, and bribery taking freely within the society. Nobody is talking, and you call it democracy? No. So we still have many things to do to be able to strengthen our democracy and let us actually feel the effect of democracy, so that we will say, Uhuru, there's democracy in Nigeria.
Okay. We'll come back to you. Opening remarks of Andrew Eyigalua on the issue of strengthening of democracy in Nigeria. Let's get the thoughts of Dr. Maxwell. Now, looking at democracy in Nigeria, what's your take? Do you think democracy is really being practiced here?
Oh, well, on the basis of a written document by which Nigeria got their independence,
okay,
and as well as on the basis of the collective will of the military to relinquish power to the people, we will say we have democracy. We do have democracy. But are we practicing democracy? I was glad when Mr. Andrew said semi-democracy. That adjective is even too qualified for what we are practicing. To me, as we speak, I think we are practicing what we call democracy.
I don't understand that. What do you mean by that?
So when I use the word democracy, it's as a result of, it's born out of the expression of the tendency by which both the previous government and the current government practice what we call the democracy. Now, when we say demo, we talk about one that is possessed with a kind of a spirit that actually do not give credence to the good nature of life. So when we say someone is being witched with witchcraft, or you have a witchcraft spirit, it means that somehow along the line, your level of thinking negate the actual practical doctrine of way of life. So if you look at where we began from today, let me just talk about the current democracy. Let me not talk about the First Republic, Second Republic. Let me speak based on where we are, the 21st century democracy. Now, I love the fact that Mr. Andrew used the word that, yes, we are still being young. 60, we got our independence. We are still young. We have not got it to 100 years, unlike America that have gotten their own over 200 years. But I like drawing a conclusion based on inference. Now, if you look at it, the America that got their democracy from when they start till calculate the years we've been, did you notice a progress from when they start down to the years we are now? Because I'm over 40. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the fact is this. From when they gave birth to me, like I was 6 months old. I've been hearing America, America,
Yes.
America. Are you getting me?
Yes, even when you were 6 months old,
when I was
you heard it.
America, 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 which means their development has long begun even before I came into existence.
Yes.
Now, for crying out loud, I've witnessed 4 decades in this country. It's still the same thing I saw as 2 years old boy, that I'm baby, that I'm still seeing today. The same recycling. So, if there is no moving forward, if there is no tendency of progress or a kind of a systematic approach to a way of life to ease our stress, it's practically defined by me as democracy. So the current leaders that we have, they all have demo spirit.
I
didn't mention name. I didn't mention name. I know. Okay.
Please, you have to take that back.
Okay, I retrieve it.
Okay.
I retrieve it.
Okay.
But one way or the other, we are all possessed by, an average Nigeria, we are all possessed by this tendency of not allowing our collective will to be subject to the general will of the people. Now, when you say democracy on a normal definition, yes, Mr. Andrew quoted Abraham Lincoln. Yes, on a general platform, if you want to look at democracy, what is democracy? It's all about the governance being demonstrated by the large number of the people. So the government by which the large number of the people determine what they want and how they want it. Yeah. But as we speak, is that what we practice here? Do we see people actually determine what they want and how they want it? How long? Okay, if out of 36 states, or probably let's say 37, by virtue of Abuja, then half of it said, please, let's call for a meeting where we'll have to discuss. Hello. And a governor or somebody that is saddled with that responsibility of saying, let's actually come together to discuss, that he make no sense. So do you call that a government that is directly? Because as we speak, the people that are calling, the state that are calling for we to dialogue are much more than the number that are saying we should do dialogue. So where is the government? By the definition of saying, determined by the what? The majority of the people. So these are my take. So if we must dissect this a bit, we must understand this, this laid down foundation, vis-a-vis putting into proper perspective the needed goal of what democracy entails in terms of element and attribute and the functionalities around it.
Okay, well outlined points by my guest there, Dr. Matt. So he's a lecturer, so he has a way of wanting to lecture you. I know our viewer there, you are enjoying the program. There's much to discuss on today's show. I must tell you, these are just the opening remarks of the program. So we get the thought of a politician in our midst. I hope I'm allowed to call you that. Yes, because you have been in politics for years before going to pressure group to put pressure on government to ensure that democracy works. Now, we've seen that Democracy Day, June 12th, that just passed, ought to be a day of celebration. Okay. In most states of the country, there was demonstration. But in Abuja, we had demonstration for the government and demonstration against the government. Now, I think it's normal for democracy. Is that normal for democracy, Andre Galua, that the day that democracy is supposed to celebrate, people were protesting instead of celebrating?
I would say it's normal.
Okay.
Especially in this part of the world that we come from, in Africa. In other developed countries, it's celebration. You put the past behind you, you celebrate the day of your freedom and all that.
Okay.
But in Nigeria, I still feel that's a particular time and day where people will express themselves again on the misgivings in the country, what they are suffering. But it shouldn't have called for maybe shooting guns, tear gas and all that. It's normal. Democracy Day, Freedom Day, where we got our independence to go into a private or democratic system of government. It's worth celebrating. And I still advocate that, yes, they protested. Good. To let the government know that, oh, we've had democracy for 21 years or 20 years now. This is what we are lacking. This is where you are going to improve on and all that, which the government, they have their various ministries, they have people that are working with them that will take note of all these protests and all that. Then you go back to your drawing board and see how you can measure up with their grievances or their cry. It's very, very much welcome. But in a situation whereby you are protesting and you are destroying government property in the name of trying to pass a message to the government, it's not acceptable, totally unacceptable. But protest for the right reason, it's accepted. Like some of the protests we saw was concerning healthcare, insecurity, and all that. You can't call for such protests in an ordinary day. That is an avenue. So I think the government, they've listened on that day, they watched and they saw what the people were crying for. Then I think the president came out the other day to make some statement concerning these herdsmen and whatever. He said, you, the governors, you know the problem of your state. You know the security problem. Tackle it. That's a food for thought. That's a food for thought. And actually, as a governor, don't you know how you are the chief security officer of your state. Don't you know how you can secure your state? Can I come and secure your house for you?
No.
You know your company, you know your environment. If you want to secure, you can do it. But when it gets out of hand, that's when you can call for the police. But the preliminary security for your area, you know what to do. So it behoves on the government to do what they want to do and secure their state. You understand? So that day, the protest they did on June 12th was a welcome one, and I do not say it was not. It was out of place. It was normal, and I welcome it.
Okay. Now, Dr. Mansur, now, taking the discussion further, democracy, like you have actually expatiated, yes, supposed to be determined by the people. Now, some persons believe that the people are not serving those in government, whereas it's supposed to be the reverse. Those in government are supposed to serve the people. During electioneering campaign period, most people seeking for public offices always say, I'm a servant leader. They always campaign by saying, I will serve the people, because that's democracy. But in Nigeria, do you think that is obtainable? Are the leaders serving the people or the people serving the leaders?
Thank you. I think the people are the ones serving the leader, not the leader serving us. In all ramifications. In all ramifications. Now, let's take a clue from the various agencies or government parastatals or the economic perspective as well as an educational perspective and everything. When you say you are the one serving me, if you have a maid at home,
okay. Yes.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
He's meant to serve you.
Yes.
So he works on the basis of your order. Please give me water. He or she goes and gets you water. Or let me not use that word. Let me not belittle ourselves using the word maid. Okay. If you have a worker, like you are here, sir, we understand the structural background of work which bring about productivity is as a result of different levels, because all of us cannot be on the same level. So as a result, the younger ones are meant to work, to be mentored by the senior one. So the senior one tells you, give me this, give me that. You work on the tenet of such order. You don't deviate. Now, if our leaders that we call our leaders, have you seen them actually working on the premise of our order? Since this democracy, let me use the word, the 21st century democracy. No. Rather, you just see them, they execute project based on the way they think it. The greatest problem that I find out in this democracy is that there is no continuity. Someone comes into office, he jettisons whatsoever idea that the previous government brought about, and at the end of the day, we continue afresh again. I'm so happy for this topic because a lot of expository will be done today. Yeah. Now, if there is anything I will commend the current, not the president. See, I demand for an apology from the, I tender an apology to the people. In the community where I stay, I know how many people I convinced, even though I was not politician, why the reason why the former government or those in power has to be changed for the new ones to come in. And if you know East very well, before 2015, it was practically 100% PDP. I mean the East. Practically 100%. Now, I was running a program in East as at then. So whenever I try to talk on the reason why the government has to change, why we have to look into the alternative that have been brought before us, I know the look as well as the agitations and the kind of the will on the people to kind of cage me and say, can you stop it? But I stood my ground that the person that is in there is my brother, South. So he lives with me, I live with him, we're the same backyard. But right now, this is not only about my brother ruling and not giving us democracy, or my brother ruling not giving us the benefit or the importance or the things that go along with democracy. Anybody that can deliver for us, whether the person is from Pakistan, whether it's from this or from that, let them just go there and do the needful. So can we leave this partisan and everything, which actually began from even the Awolowo era and Azik era, taking our politics into tribal and religious aspect of it? Is that what we want? So when the leaders are not delivering, they try to turn it towards what? Religious background. They turn it towards what? Tribal sentiment. For crying out loud. Is there anyone that is God? Nobody that is God. So you are not God to determine whether, I'm sorry, whether this religion is better than this religion or this religion is not better than this religion. Stay on your lane and maintain your own statutory. No, the point I'm trying to make in all sense of reasoning is the fact that there is nothing that is working right now the way it is structured. So the people which we gave power that are meant to serve us are now the one we are not serving. How do we serve them? Let me break it down. Because if you are serving me, I'm supposed to tell you that the labor market should be adequately taken care of so that we have more youths engaged in work. But the reverse is the case. Every year you have graduates coming out night and day, artisans here and there and everything. There is no commensurate. Why am I even using the word commensurate? Because commensurate means that, okay, there is a work, but is not a bit in standard with your status based on your qualification.
Employment now.
Yes, in terms of employment. So it's not, let me not use the word commensurate. Okay. There is no full job. Nothing for anybody. Now, a president will come out and will not tell you, if you want to get job, behave yourself. Have we not behaved ourselves for too long? How else do you want us to behave ourselves? Now, is somebody that is to, listen, we are supposed to be the leader. He is supposed to be the servant. But the servant is not telling Oga in the house, Oga, if you don't behave yourself this evening, there is no food on your table, of which you are the one producing the money for the servant to cook for you. Yes. So it does not make sense. Now, when you look at all these things and everything, do we actually have a leader that we classify as servant? None in existence as we speak in this country. No, I have not seen, and I don't think it will even be with the current status of power given to somebody as if. Now, look at the National Assembly. Let's look at it from different arms of government. Do you actually see the local government chairman working as a local government chairman? Rather, he's been dictated. All his functions and attributes and everything that he does is directed by the state governor.
In most states.
Sorry, in all states, is there any local government chairman that will tell you that I have 100%? No, why am I even using the word 100%? That I have 50% order on how to run my local government. It does not exist. The National Assembly that you and I know as we speak, or the House of Assembly that you and I know, they are all rubber stamp. They work for the governor. They don't work for the people. So if everybody works for the governor, certainly this is not a servant or a leadership perspective by which we think that the government should work. But in an advanced state, where you see a prime minister selected amongst the parliament member to represent everybody, now before one thing is done, he comes back to the people to ask for your idea.
But
What do you want?
We have
How do you want it?
representatives in the National Assembly.
Okay.
They are supposed to have constituents. They are supposed to have people. They are supposed to meet with them and make proper representation at the National Assembly.
No, Egusa,
Is that
let's
not
be
supposed
real.
to be the
Do
case?
you know the one representing you in your constituency? Let's be real. I want to start from you. Do you know the person representing
I'm
you?
the
in your
anchor.
Okay.
I'm the anchor. I'm going to ask you questions.
So right now, if
Yes.
you ask me,
Okay.
the person representing me in my, well, let me not go there.
Okay.
They have their case in court. So till they resolve it and everything.
Yes.
But let me talk about the National Assembly. The people representing me in National Assembly. Yes, do I know them by virtue of a television? Yes, I do. But do I see them in my locality and everything? No. Let's be real about this. So the fact is this. There is nothing like servant. You being a servant, you are not leading us, you listen
Like
to us.
servant
And
leader
servant leader relationship. It does not exist in this part of
in the
democracy.
type of democracy we are practicing.
practicing
We
right
are
now.
going to dissect that more because I know that Ambassador Igalo Andrew is itching to make his comments on this issue. And I also believe that your time with us on the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, is worth the while. I hope you are enjoying your time with us. But we'll take a break now. And after this break, then we'll be getting the thoughts of Igalo Andrew on the topic, the strengthening democracy.
I stay glued all day, listening to the independent radio. That's the Heartbeat station. No need to mention. Brand new from the package to the finest news. Information, education, entertainment, satisfaction.
Radio 92.3 FM. Independent radio 92.3 FM.
Independent Radio 92.3.
Independent television.
Okay, it's always a delight to have you back on the program, the 60 Minutes Nigeria, and of course the final lap on the current affairs program. Well, hello Andrew. Democracy also means voting people into power. Now, do you really think that the democracy we have practiced, the ballot counts? Only yesterday, INEC chairman announced increase in polling units. All these is to bring the democracy closer to the people. That is just the essence of more polling units. And polling units were taken away from shrines and churches and all of that. You know, but the issue is ballots, voting exercises under the democracy we practice. Are you comfortable with it? Does it count?
Well, the ballot you are talking about,
Yes.
that is the aftermath, the last resort. But let us come here.
Okay.
The process before you get
Okay.
into the casting of ballot.
Okay.
Candidates, how do they emerge in political party?
Thank you.
Funny, mischievous method that you and I will ask yourself, is this politics? Is this democracy? You are a candidate, I'm a candidate. And the law stipulates that if you are resident in a community, in a place for 12 months, you can vote and be voted for, irrespective of where you come from. That is what the law says. But when it comes to political party, you will be surprised that the most popular candidates in that party, in that area, will never be given ticket.
But it's supposed to be Democracy is supposed to be the will of the people.
Good.
Yes.
Which people?
People participation.
Which people? Whereas in your political party, in your ward, few hands are delegates to select or elect the candidate that will represent the party. What method do they use? Where are you from? Your mama is Benin. Your father, no, you can't represent us. Who is your father? Who is this? Who is that? Those are the factors they put into consideration. Irrespective of if you are a thief or a ritualist, they don't want to know. Even if you have good intention for the people, they don't want to know. Or the money bags. Very rigorous and funny way of candidates emerging
as candidates
in a political party. Before you now go to the
election proper.
Election proper. That one is a different ball game entirely. It's all about money. Are you getting it? All about money or the party you belong to. So many factors which the real founders of democracy did not tell us this is how it is being played. But we organized and formed our own kind of funny democracy, which we still call democracy. So the process of our voting system, I just pray God to come and intercede for us, to open our eyes on what democracy entails. That aside, my colleague here was talking about servant-leader relationship. Every power is gotten from the Constitution. A governor is just a single person. But so the moment you win and you are seated in that office, there's power that is accrued to your office to use so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. It's not physical strength.
Yes.
The powers.
Political powers.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So he just said the local government chairmen, they are not free and all that. This case has been in court for a very long time. They want autonomy, local government. Most times when the issue is being brought into the National Assembly and whatever, the government, they kick against it. No? Which financial autonomy? You have 20, like in Edo State, we have 24 local governments. Is it not 24? 18 local governments. Yeah. By I'm not saying that the government should be autocratic, but by the time they now grant financial autonomy or autonomy to local government chairmen, then what will be left for the governors to govern?
That's not the problem of the governor. The governor must obey the Constitution.
Wait, that is why the issue, whenever is brought up, it's always jettisoned. It can't work in Nigeria. Because if the federal now deals with the local government
there was a time the federal government paid revenue straight to local government accounts.
I think that was during Obasanjo's time. Was it?
Yes, yes.
He was dealing
but they
directly.
took him to court and they muzzled him and he reversed back. I remember.
So, if you look at all these things, it is democracy and it is governance, it is the style. We have to just keep moving with the time and adjust to the system. Otherwise, it won't work.
But who are the corporates? Now, when you talk about voting being mad, maybe vote buying and all that, the people are supposed to be aware that they have the power to put in to elect leaders. So if they allow their conscience, if they allow their choices to be, maneuvered or manipulated by the candidates, don't you think the people are to blame?
Let me come in here now.
Yes.
Do you know the people that have these voters cards? The illiterates, the ignorant people. Those are the people that have this voters card. And they are not privy to news or television to listen to anything. What they are waiting for that day is for you to tell them. It is few that are aware that we need democracy, we need good governance, we need this, we need that. Majority of the voters are illiterate and ignorant people. They are ready to sell their consciences. You understand what I'm saying? So that is why we are saying what we are saying now. Like in Nigeria now, there's this hue and cry of constitutional review, referendum, this, that. They keep shouting, the intellectuals. And how do you achieve that? By revolution. What is revolution? going to the streets to start agitating and all that. But they keep speaking grammar. And the actual people that will go into the street, they don't even have WhatsApp to know what these people are talking about. They go about their various businesses, the bus drivers, they are comfortable, they are enjoying themselves. If you go to the WhatsApp or social media, it is intellectual, they keep speaking grammar every day. Put yourself, come and stay in front and agitate, carry the placard they won't. You understand? Yeah. So that is the situation we are in Nigeria. It's just for us to continue to enlighten ourselves and most importantly, educate these voters on the need to vote the right people. Why you should vote this man. He is good, he will deliver, he will reduce school fees, he will create jobs and all that. Because they don't know.
Yeah, that takes me straight to the next question. And that goes to Dr. Maxwell. Now, do you think the kind of democracy in Nigeria is ideology-based? Do political parties really stand on ideology? Do they really understand what is called ideology in democracy?
Because if there's anything I've always frowned at,
Yes.
when I see politicians coming to discuss and they start discussing ideology, and I say, can you please just stop it? Which ideology? That the party you are in today, you move next tomorrow.
Defection.
What? There is no single ideology. Ideology is defined by what you believe in. Now, naturally, we know what we believe in. You know certain attribute that is quite difficult for anybody to change in you.
Yes.
Because you believe in it.
Yeah.
It is quite difficult for that to change. Because it will take extra power and extra conviction for that to be done. That is what we call ideology, what you believe in. We do have it,
of course,
in one area or the other. So, but when you have to transport that to our democracy, they are talking about politics, do they really have ideology and everything? What is ideology? Ideology where, see, with all due respect to my governor, ideology is not beckon on your personal will alone. When we talk about ideology, we talk about blueprint by which people believe in. Okay, let me give you an instance. In as much as I agree, Dr. Maxwell Osage, I'm not a fan of Tinubu.
Okay.
Yeah? But the man created a blueprint, an ideal nature of Lagos.
Okay.
I don't know what happened between Tinubu and Ambode, but what was on the news was the fact that he was deviating from the master plan of Lagos. And the founding father says, no, this is not the blueprint. This is not the idea for Lagos. So if you don't retrieve yourself down to this idea, which means you leave. That is what we call ideology. You don't change it. Everybody would buy into it.
Yeah.
Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore that we know had an idea of how the country should go. So idea is not just you on what you believe, on how you believe it. It's also born down to the nature of that state, what the people believe, because take it or you leave it.
Yeah.
For every society or every country or everything, there is this one thing or two things that everybody in is tend towards.
Okay.
Oh, this is what if they can just do this or do that and everything. When you talk about ideology, is there really an idea that power will be restored in the next 50 years in this country? No. Is there really an idea that, all the federal road, of which I don't know what is federal road, because my state end up in Delta State. Delta State end up in Anambra. I really don't know what is federal road.
Federal road.
At the end of the day, you don't have access road based on this federal mentality, because the Buhari that sat down in Abuja knew nothing about my backyard. And you are telling me you are the owner of the backyard? So the point I'm trying to make here is this. As far as the politicians that we have in this country, there is no single idea. Even if you have the idea, just like he said, and I keep asking myself, how did we get here? Whereby the political party will present you 10 devils. He said, choose the best devil you think you know. Now, the internal democracy which we refer to from the political parties who are to produce to us good candidate, eligible candidate, viable candidate, those with the idea that has to transform the nation and move the nation forward, they will present you 10 devils.
Now-
And among the 10 devils, what will you choose?
Okay, as much as I don't believe in that concept of 10 devils, but it is also believed that good people
Yeah.
don't participate in politics. Some persons believe that, oh, politics is dirty. Politics is dirty. Now, if good people don't participate in politics, probably your concept
Yes.
of 10 devils can become applicable.
Good people participate in politics. You listen to Oga Andrew just now. You heard him clearly. That even the most popular person by which everybody run around and everything don't even get the ticket. Because the power that be decide what happened and what will not happen. So it's not only by you not being good. See, take it or you leave it. I was discussing with a friend. So we were just discussing work and everything based on his idea and everything. And I said, there are 110 persons that can do this thing better. True or false? Close to it.
Yeah.
So there are 110 persons that can do this thing better in a different way. So the idea of we classifying ourselves that we are the best is subject to our own view, because our view can also be myopic. But when you have 2, 3, 4 persons also look at it from another corner, they give you a better result. That is why we say governance. When we talk about democracy, is governance determined by the majority? Because when you bring people together to brainstorm, you get a better idea on how that thing should function. Okay. But the idea of congregating people together, you just sample opinion, sample opinion, sample opinion. At the end of the day, you still do what is in your mind. That is not democracy. So there is no idea as far as our democracy is concerned. The people playing it right now, they are just on their pocket. How they just want to enrich themselves and their family. They don't care whether the people live or not. If not, Buhari that we know.
President Buhari.
President Buhari
Yes,
that we
our
know.
president.
Thank you. President Buhari that we know, which I know,
Yes.
I can vast vote for. In 2015, in 2019, I did it. Let me be real. In 2015, I can vast vote for. I changed the community where I belong to ensure that the majority idea change based on what we think has been happening and where we need to go. Now, but in a system where you now have the person has acquired the power, now using the power against the people and everything, then you ask yourself, now the economy situation that we have today, now a president will come and he will tell you the reason why insurgency is high in social state is because there is level of what? Low level of education. Why are you president? Why are you president? Somebody came up with Amajiri, true or false? Method of Amajiri to kind of bring people from all those states and everything and put them in a school where they can and everything. Where is that idea today? Now, I'm talking about ideology now. Where is that idea today? Now, take it or you leave it. Somebody also came up with a beautiful nature in King Square and everything. You see, Fatih, most of us go there with our family weekend. We take a snap and see we are also in semi-London. Where is it today? Now, we have water everywhere. When it rains, you can't move out of Benin City. Somebody started the project in as much as I want to believe that whether half of the money went into private pocket or indeed go into private pocket, but can we stand on the idea? What is the idea thing? To remove water from the street. So whatsoever has happened with the former funding of that shouldn't be the cause of concern. Continue with the project while you are dictating the money that was spent on that. No, but for you to jettison that as if it means nothing to the people, and you bring about a new idea that I can classify as let me not use the word.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Use the word.
We'll come back to you,
So
Dr.
thank
Watson.
you.
Let's
It's annoying. It's annoying.
yes,
No idea.
Now, this issue of ideology, I know that you are into pressure group now, but do you think political parties in this country really understand the concept of ideology? Do they stand on ideology? Because we see that a governor in this party today, tomorrow because a governor in the other party, a member of House of Rep in this party, the next 4 years, maybe the party say no ticket. They crisscross, they defect. But where democracy actually came from, if the Republican in power today, the Democrats will be patient. They will be criticizing. They'll be looking for the pitfalls of that government. Then probably people are fed up with the Republican. They say, let's try the Democrats. That's what happened because it's based on ideology. is it happening here? Our own democracy, is it based, our political parties that operate in democracy, is it based on ideology?
What is ideology?
Okay.
Ideology of political party. Party
Okay.
Y and party B.
Yes.
This party has its own ideology. This is what we tend to do. Not me, my ideology.
No.
It's not an individual.
Your ideology will make you join the party.
Yeah.
Okay. You go on.
I'm
Yes.
trying to
Not
phantom
okay.
something here. Ideology, party ideology, not individual ideology.
Yes.
So if I leave, that ideology is still there. I still go with my own ideology to another party, cross-carpeting every day and now, every now and then. So what do you call ideology? When, like you guys said, every minute they cross-carpet, they change party at every minute, that, like they, as if they are going from Benin to Lagos. If you believe in party ideology, put sentiments aside. You might be having problem with your political party. It causes squabbles. But it's not enough. Since you believe in the ideology of that party, that was why you joined them. Stay put and resolve your issue with your political leaders instead of leaving the party and without consulting the people that put you in power, like Ben Ayade of Cross River.
Yes, you're right.
You cannot just rise up from your slumber because maybe you have one problem with your political leaders and all that to say you want to leave the party. It's appalling. A party that brought you into power and you are still in power. I mean, can't the quarrel or the conflict be resolved and stay put? So such politicians, I don't call them politicians that has ideology. It is their own personal ideology that they follow, not the party ideology.
That's why I interjected when you were talking. Now, when you say ideology, individuals have their own ideologies as well. And they look at the parties that suit their ideologies and join that party. It's supposed to be like that.
No, they don't look at, they just look at, not their, they
No, I'm
don't
talking
look
about an ideal situation.
ideal
An ideal
situation.
yes.
Do you know that some people, before they even join party, they don't even demand for the manifesto,
The ideology of that
the
party.
party.
The manifesto
They
of
just
the party.
join.
They just join based on the fact that, I
my
know this
friend,
person,
yeah,
this party is in power. Let me go and join. It is when after joining, before they even consider looking at the ideology of the party, it's self-interest. What they are going to gain. So the question of ideology is put aside. You can talk of ideology in the Western world. Those advanced people. What's it called in the Britain? This their Labour Party.
Labour
Look
Party,
at their ideology. The conservative party. They take good care of workers, welfare for the old and all. I like this party. They will join. And they will work towards that path to make sure they achieve why they came. But in Nigeria, it's the different ballgame. It is their personal interest. Party A is in power, let me cross. Party B is in power, let me leave. It's like that. It's not based on ideology. It is based on personal interest.
Okay. Now, before I leave you, your parting words now. Now, do you think, because the National Assembly is considering the Constitution, some persons are saying, no, we don't need amendment. We need a new constitution, So, before I just let you go, now looking at the type of democracy that we are going to, do you think they should amend it? Should the democracy in operation now be changed, maybe to suit our style, based on your parting remarks?
Well, in every stage in life, there's a process. You must learn to crawl before you walk, before you start running. You understand? Now, Nigeria, we are 19, 20 years in democracy. We are still crawling. So, at this point in time, I think we need constitutional amendment. You can't just throw everything away. There are still some that you will still pick, but let us amend it. And not on religious basis or ethnic basis, for the betterment of the country. Where it needs to be touched, will be touched. Where it needs to be improved on, will be improved on. You cannot compare the life of 1960 and now. We've moved on in civilization, in technology and all that. So I still believe that the Constitution should be amended, not to be thrown totally away.
Okay, thank you. Your parting words, Dr. Maxwell. Do you think the democracy we are practicing now should be amended, should be remodeled, maybe to suit our life, our style, the Nigerian style,
Thank you.
Do you think constitution should also be amended, or what we are saying?
I was
new
I
brand,
was-
brand
I was-
new constitution.
I was looking at the federal executive members yesterday, and in the process of looking at them, something came into my mind. And I said, how can these few individuals just sit down in these four walls and tell over 180 million Nigerians that what they are crying for is not achievable? You heard that from President when he said the power to change the law of the land does not lie in his hand.
He said, lies with the National Assembly.
National Assembly. And the greatest problem we have in the current democracy is that particular arm of government, the National Assembly, our representative. The idea of believing that the president will always give us Ghana must go, and we do the bidding, not the bidding of the people. But I've said times without number, I listened to the Oyo governor when he said the constitutional review is a waste of time. And the 70 points agenda or reference point that was given in that constitutional review, there is an element of viable state in it. You don't throw a baby away with the, you don't throw a water away with the baby, a bath water away with the baby. One thing I believe in life is that there is room for change, even though we will not just get there overnight. The part, since the man has said that he cannot change the constitution, it lies with the National Assembly. I think it's the duty of the National Assembly to work in that line, divide the power. Like what Mr. Andrews said just now when he was talking about what would the governor work with if the money is given to the state the local government. Of a truth, the reason why we are calling for governor is as a result of money not being available to the local government. So if there is an amendment that also give power to local government and give power to state policing and say, okay, let's the revenue sharing formula, let's change that. Okay, let's do that, let's do that. Is there a difference from the amendment and from where we are coming from? If that is a yes, it's a good thing. So let's give it a try. We are not saying we are going there yet. So it's supposed to be in a constant exercise,
Of course.
where you review what is not working and you change it. But because we have made it as if it's a big deal, the constitutional review is not a big deal, of which the National Assembly is supposed to be doing constantly to bring about ease in the way we live and how we intend to live over and over again. And you call that an issue? No. Let's give them a try.
Okay.
Let's see it, and let's see what will become the output.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, there is room for we to try another move.
Thank you, Dr. Maxwell. Thank you for your contribution on to this program. I also want to thank Ambassador Eigalua Andrew for his wonderful comments. My viewer out there, I hope you've also enjoyed this week's edition of the Current Affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. If you did, keep a date with me. By God's grace, next week, we'll be looking at another national issue or from Edo State, as the case may be. My name is Ego Sagmala. I do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.